Star Wars is over. Star Wars is done. It's over because they canceled the Acolyte. The media is saying that Disney's, it's done, it's over, this is horrible. It's the end of Star Wars as we've known it. We got Rolling Stone out here. Can the best of Star Wars survive the worst of the fans?
Oh,
because
here we go again.
They got the Acolyte canceled, and then we got this
Again, it wasn't canceled because of the people who are the worst of the fans. It was canceled because nobody gave a shit. Not enough people cared, and they didn't watch the show. That's why it was canceled.
Gaming Bible, Star Wars as we know it's over, but the thing is no, they're course correcting. Yeah, Star Wars as we've known it for the past couple of years, which has been dog shit more often than not. Yes, that is over. They are course correcting to try to salvage it, I think. I mean, look at the next movie coming out is The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
it's not Rey.
They pushed Rey back to the Mandalorian movie, yeah.
I don't think Rey's going to come out. I mean, I could be wrong.
I don't think there's still a script for it yet.
I think they're going to quietly let that one go because they know Rey is not popular. But of all the Disney Star Wars, the only thing that's actually been popular with old fans and new fans, I think, is The Mandalorian. That one has been like the only bright spot. And so, yeah, they're going to double down on what works. They're talking about Andor. They're like, yeah, Andor actually works. It has a future. Apparently, what is going on with Andor, and the reason Andor got spared the axe was after word got out that Andor was actually pretty good, people started going back and watching it. That didn't happen with the other shows. People watched them. They watched The Acolyte. They watched Boba Fett. They're like, yeah, it's shit. And it just dropped off a cliff. So Boba Fett's canceled. The Acolyte's canceled. Star Wars is burning down, guys. Oh my God, what are we going to do? No more gay witches in Star Wars. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Yeah, people are learning a very painful lesson this week. How math works.
Yeah,
I know math is racist.
You brought that up so many times. Yes.
I know it can be racist and sexist sometimes, but look, just to clarify, they didn't cancel The Acolyte to hurt your feelings. They canceled The Acolyte because they spent a ridiculous amount of money on it and nobody watched it. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. Like, trust me, if the stuff Disney has been trying, Kathleen Kennedy has been trying, stuck and made untold billions of dollars and whatever, they'd be making more of it. Right? They'd be like, that's it, man. Lesbian space witches, that is the way to go. We got, how many millions of new subs just because everybody wants to watch The Power of Many. So yeah, we're in the lesbian space witch business now. And it didn't happen.
No, people didn't watch it.
Oh my God. So this is Rolling Stone, which is a freaking parody of itself. Like Rolling Stone used to be about music. Remember that?
Yeah. Well, it's not now. And I love how they're supposed to have so many followers on X, but then they get very little interaction. God. So this is a whole article about the racist Star Wars fans. Again, another one. How many are these out there? I mean, it's just ridiculous. And they keep trying to paint this narrative. And what they're doing is all these writers are trying to lockstep each other and put this narrative out there and make their lie the truth. The lie is that it was because of racist, terrible fans and trolls that The Acolyte got canceled. The reality is, and the provable reality is, no one watched the show. And the people that hate watch the show would have been counted with the people that watched the show.
I know.
So a part of the number of the ones that watched were the ones you are claiming are the reason they got canceled.
Remember the loud vocal minority that these alt-right chuds didn't speak for the majority of Star Wars fans, that whole narrative that like they were just a very vocal minority. I'm like, no, because where's all this the diverse audience that's supposed to show up? The Phantom, they're not here. Look, they did a survey and we covered this and they said, for better or for worse, the majority of Star Wars fans are older men. I love it. Yeah, but
the way it is. And like most pop culture, Star Wars fandom, especially online, has become inundated with loud, conservative, and in some cases, incredibly racist voices. Star Wars has been around since the 70s.
Yes.
The majority of fans for Star Wars, provably, are older men.
Yes.
That does not mean they're automatically, conservative or any of that crap. No. Actually, a lot of times people who are fans of Star Wars weren't. But that doesn't mean they're racist either. And I'm tired of hearing this because that would imply that every time they've had people that weren't white in Star Wars, people hated the characters, and they didn't. They have not.
No, and
to stop with your lies.
I mean, look, and I will agree here because they're trying to say that, some people want Star Wars to go back to something that it never was. And George Lucas himself, I would consider an old school liberal, right?
Yes.
But he is even getting tired of the narrative because they've tried to say that there weren't strong women in Star Wars to him. And he's like Princess Leia became an archetype. She became, her own kind of like the strong female, the princess that doesn't need no man to get saved. She's actually saved the men. That became a character type after Princess Leia. We had Mon Mothma leading the rebels. We had, Padme. These were strong characters.
In the books, even more so, in gaming, even more so. But I love that they're talking about much of the online discourse around Star Wars is centered on the franchise's most recent live action projects. And they're talking about, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, The Acolyte. The market has been oversaturated. Yes. Okay. Many that occur within the same time frames, and fans are getting tired, in some cases, outright bored. And they said each have their own reception and own problems. However, the low audience scores, angry YouTube rants, and long Reddit threads can really boil down to one question. Who determines what's real Star Wars? Not you.
No.
I love it. It's been around for decades. All these people weren't even around then. And they're like, we get to decide what real Star Wars is. And basically the answer, the quick answer to that question is whatever the writer, the journalist, they're the ones saying what real Star Wars is. Usually involving The Last Jedi is amazing, and so is The Acolyte, which most of the other fans will tell you you're full of shit.
God, these tweets are just like, I cannot believe this. Like, I mean,
they didn't make the decision based on fans. They made a decision based on viewership
numbers. And this is everything. Like we've done, we recorded 3 videos. This is actually our 3rd video we recorded today. And it's all dealing with the same theme, which is basically companies have been pandering to a small audience, thinking that this mythical, untapped audience is going to show up and support projects based on representation, and they're not. They don't want to cater to the audience they have. They want, what I'm saying? It's so weird. It's like, you've got this customer base. You can branch out. I mean, you can do some projects that, but you can't chase off your existing audience or your business is going to collapse.
At the end of the day, I think they already answered the question. Everybody's over it. They're tired of it. It's been overdone. It doesn't matter which era of Star Wars we're talking about. No. It's just everybody's sick of it. They're sick of Disney, and they're sick of Disney Star Wars. And that at the end of it answered your own question.
So what is getting renewed? Well, Andor is getting renewed. Mandalorian.
It's already been renewed.
Yeah. And apparently that one was, my understanding is it was already in production, but people said, and they were saying in the comments of our last video, and again, I haven't been following this super close because after decades of being a diehard Star Wars fan, Disney has chased me off. So I haven't been following this super close other than the drama around it. But they said that the viewership on Andor actually picked up after the fact because people did not realize that it was even out, and they thought it would suck because all the other Disney Star Wars has sucked. No, Andor's getting renewed. I guess Ahsoka's getting renewed.
Oh, is Ahsoka getting renewed?
I think Ahsoka's getting renewed. Boba Fett,
no. Was performing prior to The Acolyte.
Yeah. Lando's a film. Yeah, they canceled Rangers of the New Republic.
We've been all over that, actually.
They're going to do a season 2, and then they're going to end it. Mando season 4 is basically going to be the movie.
No, the movie. No Boba Fett 2, right?
No Acolyte, nope. And Skeleton Crew is a limited series. Well, that one's weird. Skeleton Crew, for those of you who haven't seen, it's basically
Goonies on a spaceship.
Yeah.
Basically, that's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll be honest. I don't hate the concept because I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is something that you want to talk about Star Wars and George Lucas. That is something that George Lucas himself would sign off on. I'm 100% convinced because he was really into kids getting into Star Wars.
Yeah, that's why we got, Ewoks, The Battle for Endor.
And little Anakin. Ahsoka is the only ongoing show. No other live action series has been announced for development. You'd think that Star Wars is as popular as ever thanks to all the new shows of the recent years. Many of them do not last beyond 1 or 2 seasons because they suck.
Or that after they get past 2 seasons, they destroy it. Like Mandalorian was good. The first season, second season wasn't too terrible. And by the time we got to season 3, it was a complete train wreck. And that's also what they tried to make. Oh, we're going to make, there's all these other Mandalorians. We're going to switch the focus and all this other stuff. And I think that you lost the plot. And everybody's like, nah, we're over it.
Well, they're like Star Wars as we know it's over. I think that's probably good. Honestly, there were some people saying that they should just rest Star Wars, kind of like they did with Marvel. They never rested Marvel. They're actually dragging the corpse of Marvel around right now. But look at what they're having to do. They're having to redo all their plans for Secret Wars. Because originally, I guess, Shang-Chi was supposed to be the leader of the Avengers, and I don't even know if he's going to be in it now. And Robert Downey Jr. is getting paid almost $100 million to come back, to be Doctor Doom, to save it.
Honestly, I think what they need to do is they need to make everything limited series. If they're going to do a show, make it a limited. That's not saying if it doesn't do really well, you can't do another season with that character, but you're calling it something else. I watch a lot of K-dramas, as you guys know. And you get one that's renewed for a second season, but most often they're just a self-contained story, and they go for several episodes, like 16 episodes or whatever, and then it's over. And I think they'd be better off doing that and not saying we're going to get season 2. And if they suddenly decide, okay, this one was really, really well, we'll do a second season, but we'll call it something else, but it'd be focused on that character. So it'd still be a limited, self-contained something. I think they're better to do that. And then instead of worrying about season 2 or season 3, I just like everything's one and done. And if you do get another one, it's still going to be one and done, but it's going to be that character, but a whole nother story. And I think that's maybe better off doing something like that. I don't know. Honestly, I think I don't even give a shit anymore.
That's where I'm at.
I love Star Wars. You don't understand how much I love Star Wars. I loved it so much. And I'm just like, I'm tired. You've done lost me now. I'll still buy original stuff, but you done lost me because I'm just so over it.
I don't even, this is what sucks about, Star Wars for me is I am so over Star Wars that I don't even think I've watched any of the original trilogy. And I used to watch them at least once or twice a year. Like all the original movies. I used to watch prequels too.
Me too. Well, not the prequels so much.
You don't like the prequels. I actually like the prequels, but I would watch prequels too. And pretty much every year for 20 years or whatever. And ever since The Last Jedi, I am so over it that I don't even want to watch the original movies anymore. Because I'm like, I know where this goes and I don't like where it goes and I don't want to support Disney, Star Wars. And, we've got Mark Hamill out there with his damn political hot takes all the time on Twitter. So now every time I see Luke Skywalker, I got to think about what dumb, stupid thing he said today. Mm-hmm. And I just wish that, Disney would have maybe purchased Star Wars, but left well enough alone and just been like, we're going to be stewards of it, but, we'll just go back to making, occasional Star Wars stuff here and there, but we're not going to milk it. But they paid, billions of dollars for it. So they're going to try to milk it as hard as they can. But, the cow has run out of milk. And now they're just butchering the cow. And I think they're going to have to really take a step back and be like, you know what? We might be better off for the overall health of the franchise to put out one good movie every 5 years instead of doing all these shitty Disney Plus shows, because, we've turned I'm watching old Star Trek. I've been watching Deep Space Nine and Enterprise and stuff. I'm like, the average episode of fucking Enterprise from 20 years ago, which a lot of people did not think was the best Star Trek show by a long shot. The average episode of Star Trek from 20 years ago is better than most of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows. Just on average, they're watchable, and the special effects aren't the greatest, but they also didn't spend $600,000 a minute, for these 20-year-old, 30-year-old special effects. So they're going to have to rethink this whole damn thing. And I think a lot of it is depending on the Mandalorian movie, how that does. People might look at it and be like, you know what? Because season 3 of The Mandalorian did not do that well. They might look at it and be like, yeah, we're over Grogu and we're over the Mandalorian and we got Mando at home. We don't need to, the Grogus are on clearance at Ollie's just like everything else. They
had a bop at Grogu and I almost bought it because you have to
punch him in the face.
Yes.
Oh, this is a true story. When you were all about Grogu a couple of years, that actually brought us back. Okay, so I talked about this. I haven't watched the Star Wars movies, but I actually came back for Mando season 1 and 2, and we were watching it together. And Geeky was really into Grogu, and the kids bought her a Grogu pinata for her birthday.
True.
This is true. They covered her eyes up, they spun her around, they gave her a stick, and they said, okay, whack it. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Because if she smashes Grogu's head open, she's gonna be really upset to see like his little baby candy brains all over the floor. So I told her I spared Grogu, and he's hanging up somewhere.
I think yeah, he's hanging up in one place. I have to find him.
We just pulled the string and let all the candy out of the bottom because I'm like, you guys don't understand. If she beats Grogu to death with a ball bat, she's gonna be really, really upset.
I think now I could totally do it. She's so.
Anyway, are we gonna wrap this up?
Yes.
There we go, guys. Star Wars is canceled, and that's a good thing. This is why it's a good thing. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.